He walked into the boardroom with a mop bucket while 6 executives screamed at each other. They thought he was invisible, just the janitor. But he knew one thing they missed, and it was worth millions. Terry Brooks gripped the plastic coffee cup with both hands like it was the only thing keeping him employed. He knew if even a single drop hit the glossy white marble floor, they'd fire him on the spot. Not because he was lazy, not because he did bad work, but because he was a janitor. And people like him didn't get second chances. He stood in the lobby of the 27th floor, waiting for the elevator to spit out a polished shoe. Silence. Just the hum of ventilation and his breath. His badge said, "Temp clean staff." 4th month. Still temporary. He knew what that meant. Temporary, replaceable. Terry saw one of the managers, tall, I'm the startup god haircut, drop his phone just outside the boardroom. It bounced between a chair and the wall, right where no one ever looked. Terry bent down, grabbed the phone, wiped it on his sleeve, and ran after him. "Excuse me, sir, you dropped—" The man turned, looked at him like Terry was noise, not a person. "Yeah, thanks," he said, snatching the phone without eye contact. Then turned to a colleague and said, "Why do we let janitors wander around the exec floors?" Terry just stood there, coffee in one hand, dignity in the other, unsure what to do with either. 30 seconds later, HR showed up. Sharon, corporate blue suit, permanent squint. She always said things like, "We value every team member," without making eye contact. "Mr. Brooks, please stick to floors 3 through 6. We have confidentiality concerns." Terry nodded, took a sip of coffee. Didn't say a word. He wasn't trying to start anything, but he'd seen something they hadn't, and it wasn't the phone. Later that day, the boardroom echoed with tension. Terry, cleaning a nearby restroom, overheard fragments. Who's leaking this? How did the IPO file get out? It's not the software? He wasn't supposed to hear that. And he definitely wasn't supposed to see Director Wong sprinting out of the meeting, sweating, staring at the office coffee machine like it had betrayed him. 30 minutes later, Terry returned to clean the boardroom, mop in hand, and then beep, beep. Under the conference table, he crouched, looked, a small black box, flashing LED, stuck under the table with cheap painter's tape. It wasn't corporate, it was homemade. And he recognized it, because before he scrubbed floors for a living, he built things like that. Back in engineering school, before life hit the brakes, then the door slammed open. "Yo, why you crawling under the damn table?" It was the same manager, the one with the startup god haircut. "Just cleaning," Terry said. "Sure. And next week you'll find a nuclear bomb under the desk, huh?" Laughter. The kind that cuts deeper than shouting. Terry walked out, but glanced back. There it was again, the sticker on the black box. "Do not move." His gut twisted. Something was wrong. But he walked downstairs, to the food court, acted like nothing happened. But something inside him shifted. The 6th floor food court smelled like fried chicken, plastic, and quiet resentment. Terry wiped table after table, gripping the mop like it owed him rent. He couldn't stop thinking about that blinking box. Too janky to be official, too familiar to be random. He used to build those things. Keylogger nodes, passive interceptors, for research, never harm. But one time was all it took to get kicked out of school, and it was all downhill from there. "Mr. Brooks," that voice again. Sharon. HR suit, tight-lipped. "Leadership wants you at the back supply area. Something about your cleaning schedule. Also, please leave the coffee." Terry looked at the cup. Just a sip left. He placed it carefully on the windowsill, and it fell. The cup bounced, splashing a brown arc across the floor. Sharon didn't yell, didn't call him stupid. She just said coldly, "You understand we don't tolerate stains on this level, correct?" And walked off. At the supply closet, 2 men waited. Not supervisors, not cleaning staff, security, earpieces, uniforms, blank expressions. "Mr. Brooks," one said, "we've been told you accessed a restricted area." "Which area?" Terry kept his tone calm. 27th floor, conference room. "I was mopping." "Who gave you access?" "My badge works everywhere." Working doesn't mean authorized. Pause. It wasn't about coffee or zones. It was about what he saw, what he wasn't supposed to notice. You should check under the table, Terry said softly. Let us ask the questions. 2 hours later, his badge stopped working. The security guard at the entrance, same guy from every night shift, shrugged. Sorry, man. System says revoked. I still have a shift, Terry said. Not my call. You gonna ask what happened? Or just act like I don't exist? No answer. Just eyes turned away. And that hurt more than words. Terry walked out into the rain. No hood. Sat on a concrete divider. Watched as a black Tesla pulled up to the main entrance. 3 men stepped out. No umbrellas. Sharp suits. One held a tablet pointing at something angrily. Terry recognized one of them. Legal director. Another. New face. External firm, maybe, and the third. The man turned. Looked directly at Terry. No surprise in his eyes. He nodded. Terry remembered the face. That man once left a comment on his old blog post about digital backdoors. This kid is too smart for undergrad. Now he worked upstairs. Terry cleaned downstairs. He stood, walked along the side of the building, pulled out his phone, opened an old email, draft labeled, "If Things Get Ugly." Inside, a reverse tracking blueprint he designed years ago to expose rogue devices like the one under the table. He knew where it came from. He knew who it was sending data to. He knew why the company was bleeding money. And he knew his mop was worth more than any suit in that building. Terry re-entered the building through the side entrance. He knew the camera there had been broken for months. He'd submitted the ticket himself. Nobody read it. He wore his hood up, gloves on, walked through the unseen hallway where janitors, delivery drivers, and nobodies moved like ghosts. The door code had changed. Didn't matter. He'd installed the system, typed in the override. 999070. Click. He's in. Empty boardroom. Lights on. Terry crouched, looked under the table. Gone. The box was gone. No blinking, no tape, no sticker. Too late. And then, voice behind him. You knew they'd remove it. Terry stood up. It was the man from the Tesla, the one who used to praise his ideas online, now staring at him like a ghost from a former life. I did, Terry said, but you didn't come to talk. And you did? The man replied. Silence. You're leaking internal reports, Terry said. Selling them. I found the box. You knew it was there. I don't deny it, the man said. But who are you to expose us? Terry held his gaze, then pulled out his busted old tablet, opened a folder, tapped play. The device had backed up everything, every intercepted file, every keystroke. You ever heard of a mop that sees more than a camera? He asked. The man's face twitched, still no fear. What do you want? Money? Revenge? No, Terry said. I want someone to finally look down at the people holding this company up, the ones you ignore. Because while you look up, the floor beneath you is burning. Footsteps. 2 more men entered the room. They grabbed Terry's arms. You're trespassing, one said. We'll call the police. Do it, Terry said calmly. But look at this first. He flipped the screen. Live feed. From the Singapore office. Someone was reading an internal doc not yet published. Real time. We'll spin this, the suited man said. No, Terry replied. You already did. He reached into his bag, pulled out a dusty yellow hard drive, labeled TB Archive, every log, every name, every proof. This is why you never underestimate the guy who cleans under the table. Sometimes that's where the truth is. Downstairs, Terry grabbed another coffee. This time, free. He sipped it, not caring if he spilled a drop. Walked outside, pulled out a tiny mop keychain, held it in his hand. They called you a janitor, he said, but you were a mirror. And in that mirror, they finally saw themselves.